Hello everybody and welcome back to Dr. Ghost Games. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 3 best tier 3s. I've chose one for each ship class, so we have the best battleship, the best cruiser, and the best destroyer. Do keep in mind that these are my opinions. Without further ado, let's take a look at the video. Right off the bat, we start with HMS Orion, which is my favorite tier 3 battleship. And yeah, it's probably one of the best ships at this tier because of the fact that it has 14-inch guns. There is not any tier 3 in the game that has 14-inch guns, so it does make it probably one of the best. Now, 14-inch guns at this tier is very big, and as you guys can see, we're firing with salvo at this Trento, which is a Italian tier 2. Now, look what the damage we did. We did get some penetrations on the Trento, but we did not, unfortunately, do much. Now, we shoot at this Tenryu here, and unfortunately, we do overpen because of the fact that these guns are so large that they do tend to overpen. Now, I do believe the Orion has short fuse armor piercing, which means when a shell hits a ship, it's gonna usually penetrate almost on impact. Now, I'm not fully aware how the short fuse works, and there we go. We get an absolute deletion, and fortunately, we actually do manage to pen the crap out of that guy, which gives us a couple Citadels and a Dev Strike. But yeah, this ship will do that pretty frequently at this tier, and the guns are pretty accurate if you put the first modification on it, the Aiming Systems Mod 1. Now, this ship, like I've said, it's got big guns, which means the shells are more likely to overpen, even if it has short fuse armor piercing. Now, you're not going to see as much, but it's still large. The caliber of the gun is 14-inch, which is pretty darn big. Some tier 5s and some tier 6s even, like the Leon, has 14-inch guns. Now, it gets really good when you start fighting battleships. Now, the guns are so large that usually when you get some broadside battleships at close range, you could pen the crap out of them and do a lot of damage because of the sheer size of the shell. Same with cruisers even. You could also screw up cruisers even, like you saw with that tier 2 Japanese light cruiser, the Tenryu. Now moving on, we have our cruiser pick here, which is the Gowai Truant, which is probably my favorite tier 3 at this tier. Now, there's a lot of picks, but Tenryu really takes the cake, and this is the first match. Keep in mind, every gameplay you're seeing is the first match when I had this idea for this video. And yeah, let's talk a little about the ship here. Now, the Gowai Truant is probably the best cruiser, like I've said. And the reason why is because of the fact it's got 152mm guns. They do pack a wall up. It's got torpedoes. It's got 6 on each side, which do a pretty decent amount of damage. Keep in mind, it is tier 3, so you're not going to do a whole lot of damage, but it has so many of them on each side that it's just very good. Now, the armor is not the best, but the one thing about the French is they have something called spaced armor, which means usually battleships that shoot this thing, now don't get me wrong, you still can get smacked, but battleships that shoot this thing usually overpen it. They don't Citadel it as frequently as they should because of the fact it's got spaced armor. Now, as you guys can see, we're taking some shots at this Clemson, and look what the HE damage is just doing. We've been punching this guy up. There's torpedoes he fired. It looks like in wide spreads. We're going to cut the needle, no problem indeed. Thread the needle, I mean, not cut the needle. We're going to go right through it. And yeah, it's an excellent ship. It's got decent maneuverability as well. It's got, like I said, bad armor. It's got really good HE. It's got very good AP as well when you are fighting cruisers. It's not a bad ship at all. And it can set fires as well. It's got that little cruiser HE spamming trait on it that a lot of the cruisers transfer over up to higher tiers like tier 4, 5, 6, and 7, and even legendary. Unfortunately, there are no legendary French cruisers yet. But this is going to be my favorite tier 3 out of the bunch. Out of all 3 of these picks, this is the one I prefer to take out for tier 3. But if I'm in the mood for battleships, I pick Orion. If I'm in the mood for destroyers, well, you guys got to watch the last few minutes of the video, because the next pick that's coming up is a destroyer, which it's a pretty good darn destroyer. Now, as you guys see, we're going to dump some torpedoes, but unfortunately, the clip does run out here. And let's take a look at the destroyer. And yeah, here she is. She is a tier 3 Japanese destroyer, the Isokazee. And yeah, for those who like destroyers and like sneaky little ninjas like this thing's deadly. And if you could play it right, this thing could potentially win over matches. This thing has very good detectability. As you guys can see in the top left near the minimap, I've got 4.6 kilometer detectability. But keep in mind, my commander, which is Raizeo Tanaka, is all the way upgraded. And he's just an absolute beast. And I'll just say it now, it is my go-to. It's an excellent ship indeed. And also the torpedoes. The torpedoes reload every 30 seconds. Now keep in mind they're a bit low range, about 8-9 kilometers. They're not the best. You can get it even larger or longer. And we actually do manage to hit the destroyer that we fired off at that Clemson, and getting us up to 7,000 damage. Now the damage is not that good, but they reload so quick that you don't even notice it. I mean, by the time your torpedoes get there, they're already reloaded. And it's an absolute menace, and it's insanely good destroyer for those who love them destroyers. Now, like I've said, the armor not really that important. You are a destroyer. Your armor is not going to be your highlight of your ship, because of the fact that it's a destroyer. You're meant to stay on not detected. Now we're shooting at this Clemson here because we have smoke, and we're trying to finish them off here, which I do believe we do, as you guys will see in the gameplay. But I'm trying to talk about the ship here. Really, it's also very maneuverable. It's very fast. It's got engine boosts, of course, like most of the Japanese destroyers. And yeah, it is the best by far. A lot of people might support me here, but it's, in my opinion, my go-to, and a lot of other people's go-to, Tier 3 destroyer pick. And yeah, there you guys go. That's my top 3 picks for Tier 3 in every class. If you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to punch the like button, subscribe, comment down below. It helps the channel more than you think. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out. Stay healthy.